So this is the point, very important, that most of us facilitators, we don't come from tradition, right? Probably you haven't been schooled or accompanying a shaman or anything like that, but you're doing shamanic work, right? Even though we want to say it's facilitation, but it's in the end it's a shamanic work, right? But we're not coming from a tradition, and we are doing it from instinctive, very intuitive, and maybe a natural way that we still don't understand how we're doing it, but we feel we're doing it, right? While tradition has very clear standards, rituals, and settings, that create that safety, and for them it's common sense. You ask a shaman, okay, how do you make this space feel safe? A shipibo will burn a tobacco, and will sing an Icaro, and will wear a protection collar and a crown and these things to bring safety. I went to Peru just last month, and the shipibo I was with, he said, I was doing an interview with him, and then he said, this room is a little bit, has a little bit of bad energy, and he started singing an Icaro. So this Icaro, this is an Icaro, and for him that Icaro is like, what does it mean? No, this is to clean the space, right? And this is how he connects from his tradition. This is not something he came up with, but it's something that is his own Icaro, right? Which is his voice, his chanting, and the words he's using in Shipibo language to clean the bad spirits, right? But within yourself, you're doing it more from a heart and intention, okay? And maybe if I don't ask you that question, you're not aware of it, right? But the point of this is to really see that in facilitation and in this work, there are many things that are very important for creating that space. One of them is safety, making people feel safe, right? So becoming aware of this now, from what you know, without having to research or study about the tradition, what would you do in the future to make people feel safe, to bring safety into space, or anyone here? The indications are like the safety instructions when you're boarding a flight, and the flight attendant says, okay, this is the lifesaver and all these things. But it's very technical, right? It's very technical. The safety in this setting, more than knowing which is the bathroom and knowing that you cannot talk to a person and knowing that you should be careful when you go to the toilet and all these things are important, but safety goes beyond that in this kind of work, because it's not about physical safety only. It's also mental and spiritual safety. And safety here, more than taking care of your physical integrity, has to do with a sensation and a feeling, okay? A feeling of safety, right? So the only way to understand this is understanding how you feel safe. How do you feel safe? What made you feel safe in your first retreat? And it goes beyond, here is a bucket and here's a toilet and raise your hand when you need water, right? Yeah. So this is key, safety. Why? Because the experiences with this are scary if you haven't done it before. Why they're scary? Because there's a lot of uncertainty. We are promoting very unpredictable states of consciousness with this, because anything could happen. And there are a lot of stories on the internet about what happens in these things, right? There are the physical and the mental aspects of this experience that can make people feel unsafe. So in order for create the conditions for people to be able to be open, come here openly and everything, it's important to be able to support the feeling of safety. And from what everyone is saying here, the feeling of safety has to do with something very important, which is meaning. Okay? Facilitator is a meaning maker. The shaman is a meaning maker. What does it mean? What does it mean to be a meaning maker? A meaning maker is one that gives you, in words or in the tradition or in the ritual, the purpose of why you're here. Because if you have a doctor and you're going to a surgery and the doctor doesn't explain to you what this surgery, where you're going to be anesthetized and being unconscious and having your body open, and you're going to have all this procedure done in you, and he doesn't explain why he's going to do that, you probably won't even show up, right? So it's extremely important, the meaning that we transmit to the participant when they come to a session. And I heard about indications, but there is little meaning here, very little meaning. But if we go deep into indications and try to make meaningful indications, what would you say? For someone to really understand the meaning of everything they're going to do, the meaning of the vomiting, the meaning of the nausea, the meaning of the risks, the meaning of all the things that can happen and that can go wrong and can go right, right? Did you share anything about that last night? Yes. Okay, so many things that happen here, all of them have meaning, and then it's like going into those details of what can happen during the session or everything that's occurring, that can really give more purpose of why the person is here. Okay. And one of the ways to really go deep into meaning of all this is the intention. Okay? So even though they already know, maybe their intention is different in this school, right? So, and the intention is very important for shamans. It's extremely important for them. They are always working with this, because what is the intention? What is the intention? Yeah, the intention is like your objective, but not from an ego perspective, more from a spiritual perspective. It's like a deep, profound goal that you have. It's more than a direction, it's a destination. Right? It's like your destination tonight. What was your destination? Like when you're boarding a flight, I was boarding a flight yesterday, the destination was Brussels, right? Yes. How about you? It's not guaranteed. Did you have any? But maybe you can go into this without intention, huh? That's many times I have gone to ayahuasca with no intention. So for example, like you missed the opportunity to maybe go into this, right? Of why it's not that I have to do this all the time, but it's kind of giving them a little homework, the participant a little homework, so they can find an anchor that can guide them through the process. Because having an intention is extremely important in life, because otherwise it would be living life without direction. Yeah. Okay. So of course it's a matter of experience to be able to flow with all these things, but that also connects, because that also connects with your intention when you ask this question, right? The moment you ask this question, the facilitator also is connecting with his own intention, which he is transmitting with the medicine, right? Because the facilitator can just be doing his work and not really connecting with any intention, and that will affect his presence in the whole, right? How can it affect your presence? Because you will not be connected with the journey. It will be just looking at the watch, how much time do I have left, and that's it, right? But sometimes when I am going through a personal process, I use the facilitation as an opportunity also to go into my own personal process, right? Because it's normal.
It's natural, no?
Yeah, exactly. Because that brings you more presence. So also the presence is extremely important. About safety, how can presence bring safety into the field? Imagine if Matthias just laid down on the couch and put some music with the phone and just lay on the couch. How would you feel? Would you feel safe? Or he just left the room and went upstairs and then come back and started talking with other facilitator. So these are the aspects, of the presence of this work, and how, being present is what really brings a feeling of safety into the field. It's extremely important. And the presence is not only about being present. What else? It's in the presence. Imagine a soldier, when they say, there is a war or whatever, or you live in a dangerous neighborhood, but there is police presence, and the police is just standing there. You feel safer, right? Just by the policeman being, not doing anything, just being there. A police presence, or military presence, right? But imagine if the policeman was wearing a t-shirt, shorts, no gun. How would you feel? The presence changes. So it not only has to do about the person being there. It has to do also about, how you are presenting yourself. How are you considering this in the facilitation?
Yes.
How are you considering how you present yourself in facilitation? So all these things, that's why when the shamans present themselves in ceremony, before they come, you see them arriving to the house and they come like in normal clothes, but after that they put on all their stuff, right? Immediately, he doesn't even have to be in the ceremony. As walking in the house, you feel that presence, right? What can we do as facilitators to really transmit that? Now, I'm not saying that you have to wear a crown and collars and all these things, right? But it's about what makes you stand out from a normal participant that's here. And everything you can do within what you connect with and the style you can develop becoming a facilitator. Because it would be your own style. So many facilitators here have their own style, right? The good thing about this training is that then the facilitator and the way I am teaching this is from an approach, a modern approach that is about developing your own style, really connecting with that. Because in the tradition, Shipibos only sing Icaros, right? They cannot take a guitar and sing, because it's not against the tradition, but it's not what they connect with. It's not their style, right? And the Catuquinas, they make up, right? And they wear different clothes, and they sing specific type of music, right? What is making us stand out from these people? What is making you stand out from these people? It's okay that you don't have the answer because you're starting, but are you connecting with style, with something?
It's something I'm still exploring.
Exactly. So, in your development, and that's why the schools are very important, because the school gives you the opportunity to really connect with your style. Starting with all this part here, creating the safety, creating the field, the indications you give, and also, the stuff that you're going to wear, how you're going to present yourself, right, into this. And you're free to do it from your personality, from what connects you. And that's a good part. Successful facilitators that do not come from tradition develop their own style, their own music, their own type of way they work with the medicines and all these things, right? Here we're not proposing you to be in a certain way. We're proposing you to be yourself, but to be able to become a meaning maker that can create this field from your style, because that's the great part. So when we started, we had a lot of, this organization was much bigger than now, and we had a lot of facilitators that were professional musicians and people that have lived in the jungle and all these kind of things. And people could choose the retreats that they want to do, many times based on who was facilitating, right? But that took many years, right? Right now, you are connecting with your style and with yourself. And all this comes up to what we spoke about yesterday, which is the process we're going to, which is really connecting with ourselves. If the shaman is connected, or the facilitator is connected with himself, he can be an example of what he is bringing to the retreat, which is creating the space of people to be able to connect with themselves, right? So this is why the shamanism, which is I don't know if it's thousands of years old, but at least a couple hundred of years, of many generations, they have found in these styles ways where these people have been able to connect with their voice, you know, with their soul, with their personality, with everything. And they are very successful where they live, you know, like these shamans that I visited. They are living very well, and they do what they love, which is doing this work, right? So the thing about the facilitator is that here we're not going to teach you how to be a facilitator in a certain way. Here really is to give you the opportunity to connect with your facilitating style. And that can take a couple of years in the making. That's why we have the school cycles are 4. I will share the, it's like this. So 1, 2, 3, 4, right? So you're now in this part, okay? What we have seen is that more or less a facilitator will connect with their style around this, which is about the 3rd to 2nd year. Here is the first 4 modules, 8 modules, 12, 16. Okay? Why around here? Because on these ones you will start doing practice more or less here. I think you're already going to retreats, right? So around this time you will start practicing. Around this time, facilitation, right? Support. Here you will start supporting integration, being more involved, maybe having an agreement, starting to work. Here is where you're solidifying all these skills, which is if these are 4 modules and we're doing a module every 2 months or 3 months, this will take about a year, 2 years, 3rd year. Okay? Around here, you should have been already to more than 15 retreats collaborating, right? And around here is just perfectioning, really crystallizing your skills and everything, and learning more about your growing in the direction that you already, So we have designed this seeing really the development of our facilitators in our schools, which is more or less from 3 to 4 years, okay? Which I think is enough time to assess your commitment, to realize if you really like to do this work, Because many people say, I want to be a facilitator. They go to the first, second school, and then they realize, I don't really like to be around people. and it's a work where you are sitting in a space where probably there are characters that you don't feel comfortable around. Supporting people that have their own process, their own complications, and being able to have the patience, the compassion to support them. And that is something that around here you would know if you really have, the nerve to do this, okay? But this is the facilitator path. Some people are not really interested in becoming facilitators. They are coming to the school because of the personal development. But the thing is that being a facilitator is something that is the work that it requires you to be at least, connected with yourself. But you don't necessarily have to take this path of being a facilitator. You can do this for your own personal development. Along the way, maybe going to retreats, maybe supporting, and accompanying this movement. Okay. So maybe all of you are not really interested in converting this into your life and your career, right? But I can tell you that it's possible to live from this, to make a living from this. Being a facilitator I'm doing it. Anthony, all of us here, it's possible to do it, but it takes this commitment. Because in 4 years you already know and realize, okay, this is what I want to do with my life. Of course, there are economic aspects and all these things, but all these things, all the things that we do here outweigh the other complications that can be, right? Because for me, I was doing other things, in the corporate world, and for me, all the rewards of doing this work outweigh the other little things that can be complicated about doing this. And realizing also that this work is about supporting a field, holding space for other people. That is extremely important. And in order to be able to do that, you have to own your own process. Not heal it, not resolve it, own it. Okay? Take responsibility on your own process. Very important. So yeah, this is what I wanted to share. More or less for you to really find your place within this, understand the path of the facilitator, integrator. When I'm talking about facilitator, also integrator, it's mixed. The integrator would start here, actually. When you have enough experience in retreats, practice, knowledge, to be able to hold an integration, right? Which is around the 8th module, right? So we already have students that are already in here from this new approach, and they are already, working on integrations and doing pretty well. Yeah? And this is where it starts getting fun, because you start working, you start, starting to make a living out of this, having more leadership, responsibility in retreats, understanding how this business works, and really enjoying, everything that you're creating.